Dear listeners, a new day and a new story to discuss. Today, I'm going to tell you a story that interests me. Listen and write down what you think about this situation. I'm interested in your opinions. The dawn barely broke as I, Ethan, a 21-year-old, found myself lost in thought, staring out of the frost-kissed window of our cramped, yet cozy family home. The quiet of the morning was a stark contrast to the chaos that would soon ensue, a daily routine in a house bustling with 4 siblings, each with their unique challenges. My life, nestled among theirs, was a tale of being the odd one out, the only child untouched by the brush of disability that painted my siblings' lives in hues of constant care and attention. The weight of their needs cast a long shadow, under which I learned to tread softly, making myself smaller, less noticeable, less everything. Mornin', Ethan. You're up early. Dad's voice broke the silence, his presence accompanied by the familiar sound of his cane tapping against the wooden floor. Just thinking, Dad, I replied, my gaze still fixed outside, where the world seemed to stretch out wide and endless, a stark contrast to the confines of my reality. You always were the quiet one, he chuckled, a sound that held a hint of sadness, perhaps a recognition of the silent battles I fought daily. As the day unfolded, the house burst into life, a symphony of sounds ranging from the soft murmurs of my mother soothing my youngest sister, Lily, to the louder, more insistent demands of my other siblings. Amidst this, I floated like a ghost, my presence barely registering. Ethan, could you help Alex with his breakfast? Mom's voice reached me as I was about to sneak out for a breath of fresh air. Sure, Mom. I responded automatically, my own plans fading into the background as I turned to assist Alex, whose world was a maze of complex needs that I had learned to navigate with a patience I hadn't known I possessed. Breakfast was a whirlwind, a chaotic dance of spoons, spills, and smiles that I orchestrated from the sidelines, ensuring everyone was fed, clean, and ready for the day. My own hunger paled in comparison to the satisfaction of seeing them content, a small victory in the grand scheme of our lives. It was during these moments, amidst the chaos and care, that I felt both indispensable and invisible. My family relied on me, yet in their eyes, I was the steady, unremarkable backdrop to the more pressing narratives of my siblings' lives. Later that day, as I sat beneath the shade of an old oak tree in our backyard, my friend Jake found me, his arrival a welcome break from my thoughts. Ethan, man, you're always stuck in this place. Come out with us tonight, yeah? There's a whole world out there, Jake urged, his words echoing my own longing for something beyond these fences. I wish I could, Jake. You know I can't just leave them, I replied, the weight of my responsibilities anchoring me firmly to the ground. But it's always about them. What about what you want? What about Ethan's dreams? He pressed, his frustration a mirror to my own. It's not that simple, I sighed, the complexity of my family dynamics a tangled web I had long stopped trying to unravel. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, I helped my siblings into bed, their needs as varied at night as they were in the day. The house quieted down, and I found myself once again at the window, looking out into the night, where stars twinkled like distant dreams just out of reach. In the stillness, I pondered the paths not taken, the opportunities missed, and the life I lived in the shadows of my siblings' needs. It was a life of quiet sacrifices, unspoken struggles, and love that knew no bounds. And as the night deepened, I realized that while I might have grown up overlooked, within me burned a quiet resolve to find my place in the vast, uncharted world beyond the confines of our family home. My story, though woven with threads of invisibility, was mine to tell, and perhaps, someday, mine to change. The first rays of sunlight hadn't yet pierced the horizon when the sound of my alarm sliced through the silence of my room, a stark reminder that another day of routine and responsibility awaited. I silenced the alarm, my thoughts heavy with the anticipation of what lay ahead, a day much like any other, marked by the unseen sacrifices and quiet resignation that had come to define my existence. As I prepared for the day, a sense of déjà vu enveloped me, each movement a well-rehearsed part of a play in which I had long been cast as the supporting character. Yet, amidst the monotony, there lingered a spark of hope, a faint echo of dreams that refused to be silenced by the cacophony of my siblings' needs. Breakfast was a hurried affair, with Mom and Dad navigating the morning chaos with a practiced ease that belied the undercurrent of tension that ran through our home. It was during these moments of controlled chaos that the outside world seemed to beckon, a siren call to a life of possibilities just beyond my reach. Ethan, remember to pick up the groceries after school, okay? And Alex needs to be dropped off at his therapy session by 3, Mom reminded me, her voice a familiar blend of gratitude and expectation. "I've got it, Mom," I assured her, my words an automatic response to the litany of tasks that filled my days. As I stepped outside, the cool morning air brushed against my skin, a brief respite from the confines of our home. The world lay before me, vast and unexplored, a stark contrast to the narrow path I walked daily. It was on my way to school that I ran into Jake, his presence a reminder of the world that existed beyond the walls of responsibility that I had built around myself. "Hey, Ethan, there's a concert in town this Friday. You in?" Jake asked, his excitement palpable. A flicker of longing ignited within me, a desire to step beyond the boundaries of my life and experience the fleeting joys of youth. Yet, even as the temptation tugged at me, reality reasserted its grip, its cold fingers tightening around my heart. "I can't, Jake. You know how it is at home," I replied, the words tasting of resignation and mischances. "Man, it's always something with you. When are you going to live a little?" Jake pressed, his frustration a mirror to my own. "It's not that I don't want it, Jake. It's just complicated," I said, the weight of my words heavy with the unspoken sacrifices that defined my existence. As the day unfolded, the shadow of missed opportunities hung over me, a constant reminder of the choices made on behalf of others, choices that had become the chains that bound me to a life of quiet resignation. After school, as I navigated the aisles of the grocery store, the list of items Mom had given me a tangible representation of the responsibilities that tethered me to our home. I couldn't help but wonder about the lives of those around me. Did they carry the same burdens? Did they, too, feel the sting of opportunities missed? Later, as I waited outside Alex's therapy session, the sounds of laughter and conversation from a nearby group of teenagers pierced the solitude of my vigil. They spoke of plans and dreams, of adventures and escapades, their words a bitter reminder of the life that lay just beyond my grasp. It was in these moments, caught between duty and desire, that the true cost of my sacrifices became painfully clear. For every task completed, every need met, there lay a world of experiences unexplored, a myriad of paths untaken. As the sun set, casting long shadows that stretched across the ground, I couldn't help but feel that, in my dedication to my family, I had lost pieces of myself along the way. The dreams I had once nurtured, the desires that had once burned brightly within me, had been dimmed by the relentless demands of my siblings' care. Yet, even as the darkness of missed opportunities threatened to engulf me, a stubborn spark of hope remained. Perhaps, somewhere within the confines of my existence, there lay the possibility of a life that was mine to claim, a life defined not by the sacrifices made, but by the dreams pursued. And so, as I lay in bed that night, the quiet of the house a stark contrast to the turmoil within me, I allowed myself to dream. To imagine a world in which my choices were my own, a world in which the paths untaken beckoned with the promise of adventures yet to be had. But as sleep claimed me, the reality of my life settled around me like a blanket, heavy with the weight of responsibilities and the silent acceptance of opportunities missed. The sun had barely crept above the horizon, casting a soft glow that filtered through the curtains of my room, when I awoke with a sense of determination that felt foreign yet exhilarating. Today was different. I could feel it in my bones. Today, I would make a choice that was entirely my own. I lay in bed for a moment longer, allowing the gravity of my decision to wash over me. For years, I had allowed my life to be dictated by the needs of my family, my own desires and dreams relegated to the shadows. But no longer. Today, I would step into the light. "Mornin', Ethan. You're up early," Dad observed as I entered the kitchen, his voice tinged with surprise. "Big day ahead, Dad," I replied, my voice steadier than I felt. As breakfast unfolded with its usual cacophony, I found myself more observer than participant, my thoughts focused on the steps I would soon take. "Ethan, can you take Lily to her appointment this afternoon?" Mom asked, her request pulling me back to the present. "Actually, Mom, I need to talk to you and Dad." "It's important," I said, the weight of my impending announcement lending gravity to my words. The room fell silent, all eyes on me. It was now or never. "I've decided to move out," I began, my voice steady despite the trembling in my hands. "I've found a job in the city, and they're willing to train me." The reaction was immediate and varied. Mom looked as if I had slapped her, while Dad's expression was unreadable. My siblings, sensing the shift in the atmosphere, watched with wide eyes. "You can't be serious, Ethan. What about us? What about your siblings?" Mom's voice was a mix of disbelief and hurt. "Dad, Mom, I love you all more than anything, but I can't stay here forever. I need to find my own way, I explained, my resolve firming with each word. The conversation that followed was difficult, a tumultuous mix of emotions that left us all drained. But through it all, my determination did not waver. I had made my choice, and there was no turning back. The days that followed were a blur of activity as I prepared for my departure. Packing my few belongings felt surreal, each item a tangible link to the life I was leaving behind. The morning of my departure arrived all too quickly, the air charged with a sense of finality that hung heavy around us. My family gathered to see me off, their faces a complex tapestry of emotions. "Take care of yourself, Ethan," Mom said, her voice thick with unshed tears as she pulled me into a tight embrace. "I will, Mom. I promise," I assured her, my own emotions threatening to overwhelm me. Dad's handshake was firm, his eyes meeting mine in a silent message of understanding and pride that left me speechless. As I drove away, the familiar landscape of my childhood receding in the rearview mirror, I felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. I was leaving behind everything I had ever known, stepping into a future that was uncertain and entirely my own. The city loomed on the horizon, its skyline a stark contrast to the rolling hills and open fields of home. As I navigated the crowded streets, the reality of my decision settled around me like a cloak. I arrived at my new job, a nondescript building nestled among countless others, its facade unremarkable yet somehow promising. The manager, a gruff man with a no-nonsense demeanor, greeted me with a brief nod. "Ethan, is it? Ready to get to work?" he asked, his gaze appraising. "Yes, sir. Ready as I'll ever be," I replied, my voice betraying none of the nervous energy that pulsed through me. The job was everything I had hoped for and more. I was trained in skills I had never imagined acquiring, each day a new challenge that tested my limits and pushed me to grow. The satisfaction of mastering each task was a balm to my soul, a confirmation that I had made the right choice. As the weeks turned into months, I found myself adapting to my new life with a sense of wonder and gratitude. The city, with its endless possibilities and frenetic pace, became my new playground, a place where I could explore, learn, and, most importantly, be myself. I indulged in small luxuries, treating myself to experiences I had only dreamed of back home. A PS5 became my companion on lonely nights, while weekends were filled with adventures and explorations with new friends who knew nothing of my past. I even managed to save enough for a car, a symbol of my independence and a tangible reminder of how far I had come. Each drive was a celebration, a victory lap that took me further from my old life and closer to the person I was becoming. But it wasn't just material gains that marked my journey. I was making up for lost time, seizing every opportunity to live the life I had once only observed from the sidelines. My world had expanded beyond measure, each day a gift that I unwrapped with eager hands. Yet, even as I embraced my new life, I could not forget where I had come from. My family, with all its complexities and challenges, remained a part of me, a grounding force that reminded me of my roots. As I lay in bed each night, the city's lights casting shadows on the walls of my small apartment, I couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought me here. From the overlooked middle child to a man charting his own course, I had broken free from the expectations that had once defined me. And though the future was uncertain, one thing was clear: I was no longer the Ethan who had left that small town behind. I was someone new, someone braver and stronger, someone who had dared to dream and had made those dreams a reality. But as I closed my eyes, the memories of home tugging at my heartstrings, I knew that this was just the beginning. There were still many chapters to be written, many more adventures to be had, and I was ready for whatever came next. The sharp contrast between my newfound freedom and the life I'd left behind became most apparent during my first visit back home. The rolling hills and familiar streets whispered tales of my past as I drove the car I proudly bought, a beacon of my independence. I felt a mix of anticipation and apprehension, unsure of the reception awaiting me. As I pulled into the driveway, the sight of my childhood home, with its peeling paint and the overgrown garden I'd played in as a kid, filled me with a nostalgia that was both sweet and sour. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the encounter ahead. The door opened before I could even knock, revealing Mom, her eyes widening in surprise and something akin to joy. "Ethan, you're here," she exclaimed, enveloping me in a hug that felt both familiar and foreign. "Hey, Mom," I managed, the myriad emotions making it hard to speak. Stepping into the house was like stepping back in time. Everything was as I remembered, yet nothing felt the same. The walls echoed with memories, each one a reminder of the life I'd fought so hard to change. Dad greeted me with a nod, his eyes searching mine for signs of the son he'd known. My siblings' reactions ranged from excitement to indifference, a reflection of the complexities of our relationships. I shared tales of my new life, my words painting pictures of independence and growth. Yet, with each story, I sensed an increasing distance, an invisible barrier that grew between us. It was during dinner that the tension reached its zenith. The conversation, light and superficial at first, took a sudden turn when Mom's voice, tinged with accusation, cut through the chatter. "Ethan, we heard about all your adventures. Must be nice, forgetting all about your family while you're out there living like a king," she said, her words sharp as knives. I felt a jolt of shock, followed by a rising tide of frustration. "Mom, it's not like that. I'm just trying to make something of myself, something I couldn't do here," I replied, struggling to keep my voice even. "And what about us? Your family?" Dad chimed in, his disappointment clear. "We thought you'd use your newfound success to help out here, give back to the family that raised you." The accusation hit me like a physical blow. "Help out? Dad, I've been helping out all my life. When was it supposed to be my turn to live?" My voice rose, fueled by years of pent-up resentment and a fierce desire to defend my choices. The room fell silent, the air thick with unsaid words and unresolved tensions. My siblings avoided my gaze, their silence a testament to the rift that had formed between us. It was then that Ava, my younger sister, spoke up. "Ethan's right. He's always been there for us, but he deserves his own life too." Her words, unexpected yet welcome, were a balm to my wounded heart. Yet, they also served to deepen the divide, as Mom and Dad exchanged looks of betrayal. The rest of the visit passed in a blur of awkward conversations and strained silences. I tried to bridge the gap, to explain my need for independence without diminishing my love for them. But the chasm that had opened seemed too wide to cross. As I drove away, the rearview mirror reflecting the image of my family standing in the doorway, a mix of emotions churned within me. I felt guilt for the pain I'd caused, anger at their inability to understand, and a deep, aching sadness for the family unity that seemed irreparably broken. The drive back to the city was a journey of reflection. The streets that had once represented escape now felt like a path leading me further from a home that no longer existed as I remembered. The rift within my family was a wound that time alone couldn't heal, and the realization weighed heavily on me. Yet, amidst the turmoil, a resolve took root. I would not let this rift define us. I was determined to find a way to mend the bridges, to reconcile the diverging paths my life had taken with the family I still held dear. But as the city lights welcomed me back, the familiar landscape of my new life offering both comfort and challenge, I knew the journey ahead would be fraught with obstacles. The rift within my family was a testament to the complex dance of independence and obligation, love and resentment. And as I lay in my bed that night, the city's heartbeat a steady pulse in the background, I realized that this chapter of my life was far from over. There were apologies to be made, misunderstandings to be cleared, and, most importantly, relationships to be rebuilt. But for now, the rift remained, a silent testament to the price of breaking free. The first rays of sunlight filtering through my apartment window found me awake, a restless energy coursing through my veins. Today marked a new beginning, not just for me, but for Ava, my younger sister, whose life was about to change in ways we'd never imagined. As I made my way through the city's awakening streets, my thoughts were with Ava. She called me late last night, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and excitement, to share her news. She was engaged to be married and expecting a child. My heart had swelled with a complex cocktail of emotions, pride, concern, but above all, a fierce desire to support her. Arriving back home, the familiar landscape of my childhood seemed to hold a different air, charged with the anticipation of Ava's announcement. The house, usually bustling with the chaos of daily life, was strangely quiet, as if holding its breath for the news that would reshape our family dynamic. I found Ava in the kitchen, her hands wrapped around a mug of tea, her eyes betraying her nervousness. "Big day, huh?" I said, trying to infuse my voice with encouragement. "Ethan, I'm scared. How am I going to do this?" she whispered, the vulnerability in her voice tugging at my heartstrings. "You're going to be an amazing mom, Ava. And I'm here for you, every step of the way," I reassured her, meaning every word. The moment of truth arrived with dinner, the entire family gathered around the table. Ava took a deep breath, and with a glance in my direction for support, she shared her news. The reaction was immediate and intense. Mom's gasp was a sharp note in the ensuing cacophony of voices, a mixture of congratulations and concerns that filled the room. Dad's face was a study in conflicting emotions, pride battling with the instinctive worry of a parent. The discussion that followed was a whirlwind of planning and advice, everyone talking over each other in their eagerness to support Ava. Amidst the chaos, I found myself stepping into a new role, that of the protective older brother, ready to shield Ava from the storms ahead. In the days that followed, Ava's announcement brought about a shift in our family dynamics. My parents, initially overwhelmed by the news, gradually came around, their initial apprehension giving way to a cautious optimism. My role within the family evolved as I found myself more involved, helping to prepare for the baby's arrival and offering Ava the support she desperately needed. As Ava's pregnancy progressed, so did the preparations. Baby clothes began to accumulate, and the spare room slowly transformed into a nursery, each step a tangible sign of the new life about to join our family. One afternoon, as I helped Ava assemble the crib, the reality of the situation hit me. "You know, Ava, this is really happening. You're going to be a mom," I said, the weight of the responsibility settling on us both. "I know, Ethan. It's terrifying, but when I think about holding my baby for the first time, it all feels worth it," Ava replied, a soft smile playing on her lips. The months flew by, a blur of doctor's appointments, baby showers, and late-night talks about what the future held. Through it all, Ava and I grew closer, our bond strengthened by the shared anticipation and the challenges we faced together. But as Ava's due date approached, a sense of unease began to gnaw at me. The responsibility of supporting her, of being there for my niece or nephew, weighed heavily on my shoulders. I questioned my ability to juggle these new responsibilities with the life I had built for myself in the city, a life that suddenly seemed selfish in the face of Ava's needs. The day Ava went into labor was a testament to the strength and resilience of our family. We rallied around her, each of us playing our part in welcoming the newest member of our family. Standing by Ava's side, witnessing the miracle of birth, I felt a profound sense of awe and love that defied description. As I held my niece for the first time, her tiny fingers curling around mine, a new sense of purpose took root within me. This little life, so fragile and precious, depended on us, and I was determined to be the best uncle, the best brother, the best son I could be. But as the days turned into weeks, and the initial euphoria gave way to the reality of sleepless nights and endless diapers, the magnitude of the change in our lives became fully apparent. Ava, despite her love for her daughter, struggled with the demands of motherhood, and my parents, while supportive, were stretched thin by the added responsibilities. I found myself torn between my life in the city and the needs of my family. The balance I had worked so hard to achieve seemed to crumble under the weight of these new responsibilities. My visits home became more frequent, each trip a reminder of the dual life I now led. And as I navigated this new reality, the line between the life I had chosen for myself and the life I was needed for at home blurred. The responsibility of supporting Ava and her daughter, of being a pillar for my family, was a mantle I wore with pride, but it also brought with it a sense of confinement, a reminder of the ties that bound me to a past I had sought to escape. Yet, amidst the chaos and the challenges, there were moments of pure joy. Watching my niece grow, seeing Ava embrace motherhood with a strength she didn't know she had, and feeling the bonds of our family strengthen in the face of adversity, I realized that these new responsibilities, though daunting, were also a gift. But as I lay awake at night, the quiet of the city around me, I couldn't help but wonder about the future. How would I balance the demands of my new role with the dreams I still harbored? How would our family dynamic evolve with this new addition? These questions, and many more, swirled in my mind, a constant reminder that life, with all its twists and turns, was a journey of discovery. And as I drifted off to sleep, the image of my niece's smiling face imprinted in my mind. I knew that no matter what the future held, I was ready to face it head-on. But for now, the journey continued, each day a step into the unknown, each challenge an opportunity to grow. And in the midst of it all, the love of my family, both old and new, was a beacon that guided me through the darkness, a reminder that no matter where life took me, I would never be alone. The world outside my window was awash with the golden hues of dawn, painting the cityscape in a light that seemed to promise new beginnings. It was a sight I had come to cherish, a daily reminder that no matter the darkness of night, the sun would always rise. Today, that promise felt more poignant than ever as I stood at the crossroads of my life, ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery. I took a deep breath, the air crisp and invigorating, fueling my resolve. The past months had been a whirlwind of change, each day a lesson in balancing the myriad roles I played within my family and the life I was striving to build for myself. It was a delicate dance, one that had left me both exhilarated and exhausted, my heart torn between the city that represented my dreams and the home that held my heart. As I sipped my morning coffee, the quiet of my apartment enveloping me, I reflected on the conversations that had become a staple of my visits home. Each trip was a tapestry of laughter, tears, and heartfelt discussions, moments that had slowly mended the rift within my family. "Ethan, you've really stepped up for Ava and the baby. We're proud of you," Dad had said during my last visit, his words a balm to my soul. "Thanks, Dad. It hasn't been easy, but I wouldn't change it for the world," I replied, my voice thick with emotion. It was during those visits that I began to understand the true nature of my journey. It wasn't just about finding my place in the world. It was about weaving the threads of my dreams with the fabric of my family, creating a tapestry that was uniquely ours. The challenge, however, lay in maintaining my own identity amidst the demands of my new responsibilities. I found myself constantly navigating the fine line between supporting my family and pursuing my ambitions, a balancing act that tested my limits. Yet, with each challenge, I grew stronger, more resilient. I learned to prioritize, to set boundaries, and to ask for help when I needed it. My family, in turn, began to see me not just as the dependable son and brother, but as an individual with dreams and aspirations of his own. It was on a crisp autumn day, the city awash with the vibrant colors of changing leaves, that I found myself sharing my struggles with Jake, my ever-present friend and confidant. "Ethan, man, you're doing great. But don't forget to live for yourself, too. You've got so much potential. Don't let it go to waste," Jake advised, his words echoing the thoughts that had been swirling in my mind. "You're right, Jake. It's time I start focusing on my future, too," I acknowledged, a sense of clarity dawning on me. Armed with this newfound perspective, I began to carve out time for my own pursuits. I enrolled in night classes, eager to expand my knowledge and skills, each lesson bringing me one step closer to my dreams. The sense of accomplishment that came with each completed course was exhilarating, a testament to my ability to forge my own path while remaining anchored to my family. But it wasn't just my career that flourished under this new regime. My personal life, too, began to take shape in ways I had never imagined. I met people who shared my passions, forming bonds that enriched my life and broadened my horizons. I explored the city with fresh eyes, discovering hidden gems and indulging in the vibrant culture that had first drawn me to it. As the seasons changed, so did I. The uncertain young man who had left home in search of himself had evolved into someone confident and driven, yet deeply connected to his roots. My family noticed the change, too, their initial apprehension giving way to admiration and support. "Ethan, we're amazed by all you've accomplished. You've truly found your way," Mom said during a family dinner, her eyes shining with pride. "It's been a journey, Mom, but I've realized that finding my way doesn't mean walking away from you guys. It means building a life that includes you, no matter where I am," I responded, my heart full. And so, as I stand at the dawn of a new day, I am filled with gratitude for the lessons learned and the challenges overcome. The road ahead is still uncertain, the balance between family and personal growth a constant work in progress. But I am ready for whatever comes next, armed with the knowledge that my family's love and support is the compass that guides me. Today, as I step out into the city, the sun climbing higher in the sky, I do so with a sense of purpose and determination. The journey to find my way is ongoing, a path paved with dreams, responsibility, and love. And as I navigate the twists and turns of life, I do so with the confidence that, no matter where I go, I will never lose sight of where I come from. But for now, the story continues, each chapter a new adventure waiting to be written. And as I embrace the uncertainties of the future, I do so with the understanding that finding my way is not a destination, but a journey, one that I am privileged to embark on, surrounded by the people who mean the world to me.